Hello, and this is day 4 of our Mental Health Awareness Week videos. And today we're going to be thinking about our gut health and learning to be kind to our gut. And one of the things that you're probably aware of is that our neurotransmitters are made in the gut. In fact, 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. And of course, serotonin is well known to be the neurotransmitter associated with depression. And our antidepressants work on that premise very much. The anxiety is related to levels of GABA, which is another neurotransmitter, and it's also made in the gut. So what I want to start with is just to refer to a study, and we're thinking about nutrition and mental health. Nutritional psychiatry is a growing subject of research and something which fascinates me, and I've done a lot of research in myself. But what is growing all to the fore is the fact that our gut health is relevant to everything, to all aspects of our health, not just our mental health, but also things like our hormone health, cholesterol regulation, blood sugar. So it's a very, very exciting and developing and fast developing actually area of research. But there was a study that was done at the Food and Mood Centre in Australia, and this was released in 2017. And what's exciting about this study and different, I mean, there are lots of studies out there on the impact of nutrition and mental health. You can look up individual nutrients and different diagnoses of mental health, and you will find links between all sorts. But what hadn't been done until that point was a randomised control trial which would seek to ask the question, if we changed our diet, if we ate a more healthy diet, would that influence our mental health? So this was done by this team in Australia, and basically what they did was they split participants into two arms. Either they were to have changes in the diet, which I'll explain in a second, or they were to receive social support for 12 weeks. And the diet was to be defined in terms of, they were asked to eat more fruits and vegetables every day, to also eat nuts and seeds daily, to have whole grains instead of processed grains, and to also have fish twice a week and lean red meat 3 to 4 times a week. Olive oil was to be 3 tablespoons a day, and eggs at 6 per week. And also they were asked to reduce or avoid extras. Extras being defined as things like sweets, refined cereals, fast foods, processed meats, and so on. And if they did have wine, they were to have red and to have it only with a meal. So these are the basic rules they had to follow. And of course, if we follow that, what you will actually notice from that diet is really it's just telling us to eat what nature intended. Nothing processed, everything cooked from scratch, and a good variety of those proteins, carbohydrates and good fats that we all should be eating. But obviously if we eat like that, we're going to be adequately accessing the very nutrients we need. And key nutrients for our mental health being things like the B vitamins, especially B12 and folate, but also magnesium and omega-3. But another aspect of that diet, which is absolutely key, is the fact that participants were asked to eat plenty of whole grains and fibre in their fruit and veg and their nuts and seeds and their pulses. Now, why would that be? Well, that's all because of the gut-brain connection, and that's the fact that, among other things, our neurotransmitters are manufactured in the gut. Now, what were the results of this study? Well, interestingly, they found after 12 weeks that the people who ate this particular diet had a reduction in depression symptoms by 30%. And even more exciting was the fact that they achieved statistical significance. And that fact alone has gained worldwide recognition and interest, and now that department has now got worldwide funding, lots of support for funding, and they've got lots of trials on the go into various topics pertaining to mental health and food. So very good results. And again, food was the only intervention. So if we were to do other things, or we were to be a bit more targeted, or we were to identify nutrient deficiencies or other aspects, then we could have an even better result in theory. So we need to be giving fibre to support our gut bugs. And again, in the Western diet, and we mentioned this talking in the context of blood sugar, it's just too easy to live on things that are very low in those fibres, and to just have heavy starches and sweet foods and sweet drinks, and the bad bacteria in the gut feed on sugars and sweeteners. And there was a BMJ article last year talking about the damage that sweeteners like aspartame can do to our gut health. So we need to be aware of things like that as well. So during the day, and again this very much fits conveniently with thinking about blood sugar, because if we are incorporating plenty of fibre, which feeds our good bacteria, then also that's going to be helpful towards controlling our blood sugar. So it's a win-win all round, is basically what I'm saying. So when we get into the habit of having nuts and seeds added to our breakfast, or perhaps having an omelette with lots of vegetables and maybe a salad with that, these are all ways of getting plenty of fibre. And again, through the day, instead of snacking on tea and a biscuit, you might be choosing something like carrot sticks and hummus, which again is going to give you a form of fibre, or having a piece of fruit. So it's really just trying to find ways of bringing fibre into your daily life where it just becomes second nature. And however many vegetables you're eating just now, maybe add an extra one. If you're making soups at lunchtime, they're great because you can chuck lots of things in there. And again, if you're making smoothies at breakfast, again, try and emphasise the greens, try and emphasise the vegetables rather than the fruits, and just use your fruits as a sweetener. But yeah, try and increase fibre, and that will support your neurotransmitters. So that's something else that will make a huge difference to your mood, to your mental health. And it's amazing how quickly these things start to make a difference. In fact, within days, we know that if you looked at a stool test and checked it again a few days later, you would very quickly begin to see those improvements in our microbiome and in our gut health. So it's not something that's a long process. It does make a difference very quickly as soon as we start to make these changes. But it's just a chance really to reflect on what you would normally shop for and how you normally create your meals. And whatever else you're having on that plate, try and go for about half the plate as vegetables. And we know that the more diverse the fruits and vegetables, the more colour. We talk about eating the rainbow diet now. That will give us that good phytonutrient spectrum that we need, and we get all those nutrients from the colourful fruits and veg. And the more diverse they are, then the more diverse our microbiome, and that will benefit our mental health. But it will also benefit our immune health very conveniently. And actually, I was really excited on Saturday to see newspaper headlines talking about the fact that over 120 scientists have come forward and said that the government really needs to be looking at our gut health with relevance to the current pandemic, and thinking about the impact on our immune system, which as yet has been weirdly sidetracked and ignored. It's almost like we don't have an immune system. So we really need to be thinking about things for our gut health. And of course, you can take probiotics. You can also take probiotic foods, things like sauerkraut and kefir, etc. Be careful, a word of warning on certain yogurts, because some of them, you may not know, do contain lots of sugars and nasties. So do be careful what you buy in the supermarket. Always check labels and don't assume anything. And because something claims it's healthy, it isn't always. In fact, anything with a label healthy on it probably isn't, because healthy food, as we know, doesn't have labels. So I would say just be careful of what you are buying. Again, regarding probiotics specifically, there are those strains of bacteria which have been shown in studies to benefit our mental health. And we can talk to you more about those in store, or you can contact us at info@nourishinginsights.com. And just as a reminder, Harriet is in our store Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays now from 10 till 2 p.m. So if you do have any queries, do feel free to contact Harriet on those days by phone, and or also via the email or through Facebook or Instagram. So I hope that has been a helpful tip, and again, if you are someone who has already made those changes, then do encourage others to do the same, and pop a note under this video as well, because if someone is starting out and just starting to make some new changes in their diet, it's great to hear from other people who've already done that and who have felt significant benefits in a short time from making those changes. So thanks for listening today, and we will talk to you again tomorrow, which will be our last day in our 5-day mental health awareness series.